Hey dudes, welcome back to Pepper's Pages. This week has really proven to be the absolute pits and doesn't seem to be getting any better. So I wanted to do something fun. I'll try to make this as quick as I can. As you'll see, there is a lot because this video is going to be all about the books that I have in my TBR list. I used to be severely adamant about how many books I had at a time that had been unread on my bookshelf, but over the years I just don't care anymore because my thought process is, and a lot of people seem to be stressed out about how many books they have in their TBR, but the way I see it is if something happened and the world isn't the way that it is now anymore, I can't just go out and find books. I guess I could scavenge, but if I already have a nice little collection, I'm good for a while and I don't have to worry about it. I don't know, that's just how I see it. So first off, we have this nice little stack of Little House on the Prairie books by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I've had these since I was probably 12, I think. I've read a good chunk of them, but I want to reread them. My aunt got them for me for a birthday. I have more than this. I think I have at least 13. I'm not sure how many are actually in this series, but this is what I've been able to scavenge from my old bedroom at my mom's house. So hopefully I can find the rest of those so I can read this whole series. The Demi-Monde series by Rod Rees. I've actually finished Winter before, and I enjoyed it a whole lot, but it's been so long that I need to reread it before I jump into spring. And there's several other books that I would like to check out as well because I did enjoy this one so much. But at some point I'll get around to it. It's been sitting in my TBR for a while now. Just Watch Me by Jeff Lindsay, who is the author of the Dexter series. I really have been enjoying the Dexter series so far. And when I saw this at the library in their donation cell, I just thought I'd grab it because it looks fun. I just wish I could get that sticker off. That was not the library who did that. I think it was whoever bought it beforehand and pulled the sticker off. And I've been trying to get it off since. And I don't understand why people put stickers on books. It just doesn't make sense. Make it easier. I've had this book, The Ravage by Norman Reedus, for a while. He is one of the guys from The Walking Dead, which I've only seen very little of. I was drawn to this book because of its cover. I don't know. It just looks really neat. I am excited to read it. I have had it for a while now. Like most of these books, I probably need to stop saying that because it's going to happen a lot. But it's just pretty, like the whole thing. And honestly, I think it'll just be fun to check out. And the fact that this is his debut novel is really interesting. The Vor by B. Catling. I found this as well as a lot of my other books at my favorite bookstore. I've been meaning to get around to this one for a while, but I just haven't yet. I don't know. In the House Upon the Dirt Between the Lake and the Woods by Matt Bell. This one sounds really interesting. It just sounds sad, and I think that's why it's taken me a while to get around to it, because it seems like it's going to take a lot out of me emotionally, which is a good thing. Hopefully it does exactly what I'm expecting it to, but it covers a very heavy subject that I have just not been mentally prepared to handle yet. And we have The Shadow and Bone first book by Leigh Bardugo. I really, really enjoyed The Ninth House by her. I have not gotten around to Hellbent yet. I actually really want to read this book, but I just have not had the time to sit down and read it. So, yeah, I don't know. I've heard a lot about the TV show and about this series, so hopefully it's good. Then we have The Brightlands by John Fram. Last year, or last summer, during the summer reading program at the library that Jake works at, they had a competition. I wouldn't say really competition, but basically if you read every day for at least an hour for the entire summer, you get prizes out of every week. And this is one of the things that I got. I actually didn't enter too far into it because it just didn't feel right, considering that Jake is an employee there. So this is one of the things I got. It sounds creepy. It's about football. So I don't know. Ooh. You can tell how long that's been sitting there. More Sherry S. Tepper books! Yes! I have only read 2 of her books and absolutely am in love with them. She's probably one of my favorite authors, honestly. I am so excited to dive into these. They all sound so interesting, and, excuse my stickers, I never removed from them. But I just love the covers, and they're so cool, and, the synopsises for these sound really good. I'm especially looking forward to these 2. So, I don't know. At some point I need to get out of the slump that I'm in and get to these. Maybe I just need to cut myself off from the world for like 2 months and catch up, because that would be amazing. We have The Damnation Game by Clive Barker. So far I've loved everything that I've read by Clive Barker. I think my least favorite thing has been The Books of Blood 2. My favorite one was the first one. I really enjoyed Everville as well, even though it was the second book in 2 books that it was about. I'm not saying that right. But it was still interesting. This guy's twisted. He's gross, but I've really been into everything that I've picked up. The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. This I mostly picked up because of the film, directed by Peter Jackson. It's heartbreaking. It's really, really disheartening. I don't think that I've had a movie move me like that in a long time. There are some pieces that kind of took me out of it, but I mean, we'll talk about that in another video. But I am excited to read this one and compare it to the film because I enjoyed it when I saw it. The Library of the Dead by T.L. Huchu. I don't know. I saw this at Target. Obviously, the sticker's still on there because I suck. But this just looked interesting, and I'm a sucker for ghost stories, so that's why I picked this one up, even though I know nothing about it. The Cellar by Richard Lehman. I was really in the mood for something horror, and this looked right up my alley. I've never heard of this author before, haven't read anything by him, but it sounds intriguing. My little stack over here is getting scary. We're going to have to reorganize. Then I have these interesting copies of Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie and The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. I found these at a Five Below. I actually do have another copy of Peter Pan that has different artwork on it, but I like these a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see. These are classics, and when I saw them, I was like, oh, okay, you know, why not? Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. A friend of mine had us watch this back when we were in high school. Back then he really loved this movie. I don't know how he feels about it now, but it was very long and very interesting, and I'm kind of psyched to read this to see how it stands compared to the movie. I actually need to watch the movie again because it's been since high school, over a decade. Skin by Ted Decker. This was another one that I found at the library in their donation cell. It just seemed intriguing, and again, I was looking for something kind of mystery, like thriller, and this is what popped out to me. I don't know, it just looks weird, and I'm all about it. Then we have Timeline by Michael Crichton. I read Jurassic Park, really, really loved that book. Always loved the movie, but the book had something completely different to it. It was more scientific, and the events in it were quite a bit different from the film. So I'm excited to see what his other books are like. Odd Thomas by Dean Koontz. I've read a few Dean Koontz books. I think the least favorite of mine has been The Watchers, and my favorite was Face of Fear. I've heard a lot of really, really good things about the Odd Thomas series, and I've been after this book for a while, so I'm really happy that I finally found it. Here's another Thomas Harris book. This is Black Sunday. If you haven't seen my video over Silence of the Lambs, check it out. It was my last video. As you can tell, I'm a good ways into this. I started reading it a while back and had to put it down to read some other stuff for book club. I need to get back into this really soon because I would really like to do a video over Thomas Harris because I've been hearing a lot of really great things about his other work other than the Hannibal series. And we have some more Stephen King. I have been having a really rough relationship with Stephen King lately. My husband convinced me to start reading his stuff again. So I went through my old book collection that was at my mom's house and pulled out Insomnia, Cujo, The Dead End, and my old copy of The Cell. I actually kind of forgot about this. There was a kid who went to high school with me for a couple of weeks, let me borrow this, and a few days before he moved. He told me to keep it. And compared to The Stand, I really liked this one a little bit more. The Stand is really good in character study. This one's more of your all-out, like, zombie type story, whereas The Stand is not really about that. It's just sickness. I want to read The Dead Zone really bad because Christopher Walken is in the film, and that's all that I need to say about that. Cujo, of course, I've seen the film a long time ago. I'm really interested to read this one, and Insomnia as well. I've heard that there's a lot of stuff that has to do with the Dark Tower series in this, so I don't know what I'm going to catch and what I'm not. I had another copy of this book that I really wish I still had, but it got ruined. So this is what I have. Then we have The Book of Night by Holly Black. I grew up reading Holly Black's work, especially starting with the Spiderwick Chronicles, and so when I found out that she had more books than just the kids series, I was all about it. I've actually started this book, and I think I put it down, and it got underneath some stuff, and I forgot about it because I didn't find it until just now, so I'm gonna have to finish this. The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I got this one because it's really cheap, and so far I have liked most of the books that I've read by him. I think his shorter stuff has probably been my favorite. I just finished Neverwhere, and that was good, but I got a little lost at times, so I think I need another reread of that, which would be no problem because it was enjoyable. Rebel Without a Crew by Robert Rodriguez. Adrian, if you're watching this, I'm sorry I haven't read this yet. I promise I will soon. My friend gave this to us a long time ago to read, and I put it on my pretty shelf that I got from my great-grandma, and put it in my room and forgot. And it's been years, so I do plan on reading this one soon because I want to read more like nonfiction stuff. He recommended Don Coscarelli's book to me, and I read that and really enjoyed it, so I have a little more interest in this now because I've never really been a nonfiction reader, so I promise I'll get to this soon. We have this chunk, The Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. This was bought for me by a really old friend in high school. I think I'd mentioned that I wanted to read it. I think if they knew at the time what it was about, they would not have bought it for me. I've started this book. It got a little ways in, and I don't know why I quit reading it. I think it was around the time that I stopped reading in high school. So this is on my list to read still. At some point, I have not seen any of the show. Everybody I know is really into it, so I guess it's time to catch up. These two were given to me by my Mima. It's Margaret Drabble's Witch of Exmoor and Susan's Diary for Nicholas by James Patterson. I want to read them just for her because she gave them to me, and I think it would be fun to talk to her about them. So, and the last two, we have Inkheart by Cornelia Funke. I'm going to say Funke because I think it's Tobias. So, I started reading this one when I was a lot younger. This is probably another one that I've had since I was about 12. I got a good ways into this and for some reason quit. It might have been around the time that I started reading the Harry Potter series. So yeah, I would like to give this another shot because I've held on to it for so freaking long. I might as well at this point, right? And last but not least, we have Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. Obviously, I have to read this one, right? I grew up watching the film. Loved it. It's funny. Watched it recently with Jake, and we did nothing but laugh the whole time. I mean, it's crazy. It's just dumb. It's amazing. It's so funny. But he noticed this in a pile to be discarded and brought it home for me. So bless his heart because he knows exactly how to get to mine. So that's my whole TBR. I'm sure there are a few books laying around my house that I'm actually seeing a few right now, but I'm not going to get them to get them. So it's a stack. I don't know how I'm going to get unburied from this. I've got to put them all back now. So I'm going to go do that. If you've read any of these books and have any suggestions for where I should start, please let me know. I really want to get through these books, but it's a little overwhelming to decide. I may end up having to start one of those like wheel generators. Jake uses that for music, so I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea. But yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts on where I should start with this. I'm honestly kind of in shock now that I'm seeing it all laid out next to me. With that being said, I hope you have all had a wonderful day, an even better week, and until next time, happy reading.